Dès que Death Association is actually an organization that comprises college students who were part-time employees at the company. And so we had several meetings with Daniel as well as some other officials of that organization. And one of the problems that he mentioned was that many of these students upon graduation were not employed by the company, and he wanted something to be done about it. So he told me that for a long time they brought that to the administration of the company and nothing was done. And because of that, many students were reluctant to graduate early for fear that they were not going to be hired and there was not going to be a job available for them upon graduation. So I did tell him that we were going to do our very best to make sure that these students who graduate do get employed by the entity. And sure enough, over a period of 2 years, about 15 students did get hired by the company. And I'm proud to let you know that we have one of them right here. Isaac came on right there. Clap for him, please. So Daniel actually struck me as somebody who really cares about others. Whenever we had meetings with him and his group, it was not about Daniel. It was about other people. It was about the students. It's about helping them get jobs and improve their life. It was not about Daniel, and it's something that really impressed me. And another thing that impressed me with Daniel is that he's the guy who crosses boundary. By crossing boundary, I'm not talking about border crossing. I'm talking about connecting with different people and different ideas. And we look around here today, we see folks from everywhere. From Liberia, from the US, from Mexico, because he's a guy who knows how to cross boundaries. And he's the guy who also knows how to connect with different ideas. He got his undergrad degree in economics. Now he's writing a book on technology. Kind of impressive. Not many people are able to easily cross boundaries, but Daniel is able to do that. And I'm so glad to be here today, and I'm very optimistic that great things are going to happen to this young man. And Daniel, I'm here for you. Whenever you need me, I'm there. Thanks.
Hey, we want to welcome all of you to the MDCP political update. We couldn't do the updates yesterday due to scheduling conflict, but we will do the MDCP political updates today. And let's go ahead and get settled here um, and make sure we have all of our rooms connected and all of our channels here ready and available. Welcome to the MDCP political update. Join us live, and when you join us live, please start sharing the broadcast. It's gonna be a really powerful conversation. Really powerful conversation. Yeah. Let's keep joining to make sure we have all of our channels connected here. There is a lot that we're gonna have to cover today, and we have so many so many people that will join us in this conversation. And we started a critical conversation yesterday, and this is not specifically uh, related to just one section. We started having some level of critical foreign policy conversation, and beyond the foreign policy conversation, there are certain things we trying to get people to understand. Uh, the war is ran on foreign policy. Okay, foreign policy will shape and reshape the structure of economies. It will shape and reshape the structure of political systems. It will shape and reshape the structure of individuals who are building a specific agenda on what they want to do. But the key focus we highlighted yesterday, which obviously will be critical for today's conversation, especially when we have all of our people, uh, all of our different guests join us here eventually on the platform. We have so many people coming. Let me see who all we have coming so we can make space for everybody. All right. Once our guests arrive here, they will introduce themselves anyway. So our guests will introduce themselves. So just be following here, but we will set the stage. There is a lot of conversation we are having today. There's a lot of critical conversation we are having today, and we have a number of guests that are going to join us here on this conversation. Okay. So you you might have followed global news and you know a lot about the issues that are happening right now. And we wanted to take our time to share with you that as part of what is happening globally, there is also certain level of analysis that people need to look in beyond just the specific drive of we want to ensure that everything that's happening is political. Today, one of the things we want to focus on in this conversation is from the Liberian perspective specifically, we will analyze the impact of the US immigration policy on our country. But we'll take the conversation to also a next level where we will also talk about the United States approach to foreign policy that is critical for the globe as a whole. And I have a couple of my guests coming on here. One of them has arrived already. Uh, I'll let him introduce himself, and he's gonna be on today's conversation. And our topic will be basically analyzing the immediate and and analyzing the immediate and long-term impact of the United States immigration policy on Liberia, but also moving beyond that conversation is just looking at global structure, the United States' current approach right now in the war. Some of those things will be critical for our conversation. One of my guests is here. Since he's the first, I'll let him introduce himself. Now we have other people too that should be joining the conversation here, working their way to come on live too as well. So, um, Mr. Nimla, go ahead, introduce yourself. Can you hear me? All right. Seems like you having an audio issue. For those of you that are watching us live, can you hear us right now? Mr. Nimla, I think you might have to go out and come back in because we cannot hear you at all. Give me a second. All right, so let's have my guests and other people who should join us here work out the details regarding the audio and other things, and then they can all join us here shortly. But thank you to those of you who are coming in right now. Thank you to those of you who are coming in right now to the live broadcast. Please go ahead and share the broadcast. We appreciate you sharing. Thank you.
Life is hard. See, it's hard when you're 49 years old, been working on a job for 17 years, and they come in and tell you you're finished and give you 1 week severance pay. And you got to start all over again. It's hard when you're married and raising children and your children are crawling and your husband dies unexpectedly. It's hard handling just the tragedies of life. It's hard when you're working on something and you put everything you have in it and it doesn't work out. You lose your money and other people's money. It's hard. It was rough when I lost my job and I could not find a job. It was humiliating and embarrassing. I borrowed money and then I couldn't pay the money back when I told them I would. That's rough. How people look at you, how they respond to you. It's very hard.
Donna, you can see me?
Here's what I discovered that happens to you in life, that you will go through things and while
I'll
you're
join you later.
you can't understand why it's happening to you. But after you go through it and you get back and you look at it and you say, oh, now I understand why I needed that lesson. Have you ever happened to you? Raise your hand. Has it ever happened to you that I couldn't understand it then, but after I got through it, then I saw that was preparing me for bigger and better things. As you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make, learning those things that you don't like to do, but you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you...
All right, we want to say a big thank you to all of you who joined us yesterday when we kick-started the conversation on the foreign policy approach. Today, the MDCP political update as part of what we want to share to make sure that we all understand where we are just on the turmoil and things that are happening globally is to analyze the long-term and immediate impact of the U.S. foreign policy, specifically on Liberia as a country, but um, to also be able to discuss at the global level the implications of the current approach to the United States foreign policy, especially when it comes to immigration and other stuff that we've all talked about with military dominance, and we wanted to share these things out here as we kickstart the conversation. We'll have some people joining the conversation here later to be involved with us. But yesterday we told you that you have to be able to understand the difference and discern properly before you make conclusions when it comes to how foreign policy affairs are conducted. So we highlighted three key things that people have to look through to be able to draw critical discernment and be able to come up and make statement publicly when it comes to foreign policy. We say the first is your country law, and then next is the international law, and then obviously we say the world superpower their own laws, because to some extent people will be saying the international law is the United States law, but there are difference though. There is a place where there is conflict between the United Nations, China, Russia, and the United States. Now, specifically, we've seen huge level of global alignment between Russia and China when it comes to basically critical global decisions. But things that people have to reflect onto as well is that if this alliance between Russia and China was really, really, really an alliance to depend on as citizens of the world, I think that would have happened a long time ago. It seems to me that this alliance between Russia and China is something that it's very I don't know the terminology to use, but it's filled with skepticism, in a sense that Russia and China will engage in their own level of alliance based on certain things that they feel that maybe the US is dominating in this, and so for us to be able to go against the United States, both of us will have to come up and agree in this direction. So Russia and China, that is the biggest position about their alliance. Now, what you need to understand, nobody has to have a question about France and the British. The French people and the British people, I think they fundamentally decided that whatever happens in the United States and whatever decision the US is taking globally, they have to be either quiet or come out and publicly support the US. You will not find the British and the French, and I think to some extent now I want to also include the Germans, but maybe you cannot compare the British and the French relationship to the United States. You cannot compare the Germans relationship to the United States with that of the British and the French. It's something very fundamental. People need to begin understanding war politics, and The reason for this conversation, we keep starting this conversation, is that we've gotten so interconnected that the war can no longer go back to the time where basically we will isolate the United States as a superpower based on how we approach global politics. And the logic behind this is that the US herself is integrated into the global economy so much that um, the last time we checked, what is the United States' largest foreign debt? They owe that to the Chinese people. They owe that to the Chinese people. Okay, that is the largest United States foreign debt. So we're having a conversation about country, the richest country in the world, owes one of the country that's positioned to probably challenge them a lot of money, a lot of money. Um, we have to talk about the Chinese. This is some of the things that I'm saying. Like you, the United States is transparent enough to be able to be clear with the debt they owe China. But then we have to ask the Chinese, can the Chinese people be able to share with us what they owe the American people? If somebody can find that data from anywhere, find it. But the logic behind my conversation is I'm sharing with you how interconnected we are. And when we approach global policy, especially things that have critical consequences and implication, like for example, we're having a conversation about the Maduro's case, the Venezuelan guy, uh, who basically most people did not understand that they just thought America just went and grabbed him. And I asked you to follow up yesterday from the conversation because I personally have not also gone into details with analyzing the Venezuelan law. Okay, but under the international law, if a president is indicted by the grand jury in New York, what does the Venezuelan law say in this case? And that's the conversation we were having yesterday. Before we even go to the second half of this conversation here on the impact of the United States immigration policy on Liberia, which will critically analyze. I've seen a lot of conversation across quarters, across corners, people been saying, oh, Liberians in America are getting mad with Liberians in Liberia for saying, oh, you guys are in the United States and you guys are on welfare. And that is the picture that has been presented for the immigration pause right now, based on the public charge rates that the United States government has presented. But again, the question for people, if we cannot run with things, because I know this for sure. I don't know about all the other 74 countries on there. But if we have a clear immigration statistics, I am challenging this process because we've gone all across the United States. We know where Liberians are. Liberians are in Philadelphia a lot. Liberians are spread all across the US, but I think predominantly Philadelphia, Minnesota, Rhode Island, Maryland. These are places that you can just do a sneak peek and see the activities and lifestyle of Liberians over there. If the statistics for the public charge rates that is being presented, that about 48% of Liberians living in this country are public charge rates to the US government, that is the data that we all are looking for. We want to see that data. We want to see that data. As long as we can see the data and verify the data, then we know this is facts, right? Then that means we have a case to say the Liberians in the United States just absolutely want to live on welfare, which basically becomes a problem because welfare is sponsored by those who are working in America. Listen, I use these words very carefully. Welfare in the United States is sponsored by those who are working. It's not necessarily sponsored by U.S. citizen. It's sponsored by every legitimate employee in the United States that pays state taxes and federal taxes, depending on where you are. Some states don't do state income tax, but most of the state will do state income tax while you also paying federal tax. So we're gonna break down this conversation for us today, and make sure that we can be able to get things clarified for a lot of people. Let me see some of the guys that's supposed to come on here real quick here. Um, they're not coming on because we're gonna move to the second half of this conversation here real quick. Let me check with a few of these guys that's supposed to come on. KSONO Productions.
Man, I don't owe anybody anything, man. I want to live my life the way I can, man. I don't come Lagos to count bridge. See my life, guys. See.
Them know me well. Everybody know me as Mr. T. Maya. Oh, they come on plantain seller. Cut content my Mr. T. Maya. Oh, I there for choir. Back in the days for mountain of fire. That's so I just stay holla. Cut corners around my mouth. Oh, the woman. This boy, I'm everybody that if you need it. Twist, I know my name today. You don't say you know go check for my everybody just help you out. You don't say I like the for brother, but I'm still that plantain boy. I'm really making when they give me mama joy. Many people see me and say useless boy, but I'm not today. I'm a very big boy. I'm a very big boy. I'm a very rich boy. Hey, my God, he don't lift me high. Nobody, but you make me a somebody. Oh my God, I'm so happy for everything you do for me. I did on my own, you know I just bless me. Anybody with a rich and famous, I don't know why people today jealous. But the when I worry, it doesn't for me. But the when I worry, it doesn't for me. You can't stop us, I'm coming with them, oh Jesus. Now sir, I just sell plantain. Every Saturday, me and my mama will sell plantain. Now my mama plantain. I'm still that plantain boy. I'm a really picky when I get it on my time. Many people see me and say it's left by, but I'm not today. I'm a very big boy. I'm just a big boy. I'm a very rich boy. I'm a very rich boy. Hey, my God, he don't lift me high. I tell them, sir, a lot of people they run make I fall. Every night and day they want to see me fall. But she ever this, it just make me tired. Her fingers are not equal. People don't plan not to see me so. Every time they want me, make I go on that time. She never can make me prosper. I go just to make them to the world. Oh no, yeah, not like somebody when they grow. If them see say you, they make them never want to make you slow. Oh, you cannot stop me, Jehovah by my side. You cannot stop me, Jehovah by my side. Plantain seller, yeah, I swear I don't be better. Yeah, everybody I'm a plantain seller. Everybody that know me better. Your mama them know me better. Oh, your papa them know me better. Mama them know me better. See, I'm still a plantain seller. I swear I know me better. Everybody I'm a plantain seller. Even everybody them know me better. Your mama them know me better. Oh, your papa them know me better. Mama them know me better. See, I'm still a plantain boy. I'm really picky when you give me mama joy. Many people see me and say useless boy, but I'm not today. I'm a very big boy. I'm just a big boy, but a very big boy. I'm a very rich boy. Hey, my God, he don't lift me high. Thank you for everything. Hey, my mama.
Dana, you can see me?
Believe in yourself, everybody.
All right. So basically, thank you. Welcome to the MDCP Political Update. This is where we discuss all things politics and developmental. We have a guest here. The guests will introduce themselves. shortly. We got other people joining us here while we go for the next 35 minutes. But before we move forward, um, we were sharing with all of us yesterday, continuing into today. I have come to the conclusion personally that people can play all the politics that they want to play. The Louis Brown statement at the United Nations Security Council had absolutely no part in the decision the American government made when it comes to suspending immigrant visa processing for the people of the Republic of Liberia and the other 74 countries. Um, we can look at the case detail by detail. People can play politics with that. And then I get the other news that certain Liberians want to go also to the public charge risk justification. People have been saying that, oh, yeah, most of the Liberians in the United States just want to be lazy, and maybe this is true. So people now are going at each other with this conversation. The first thing I will tell you, you see stories on social media, you see stories everywhere. You haven't verified anything. What I can vouch for, I told you earlier on this conversation, where Liberians for me are predominantly located in the United States. I don't know all the other places, but from Rhode Island to Minnesota to Philadelphia to Maryland down to Colorado, where I'm at, Texas, and a few other places I've seen, I haven't seen Liberians to be people who live on welfare. I know if they have to go to work in group homes, they will. So that thing conversation you're having in Liberia that maybe this is true, Liberians are just lazy. Liberians are lazy in Liberia. There are certain cases here in the United States you can come up and say certain people have gone left, right, they've forgotten about the purpose. But do you know what some Liberians are doing here? Working, owning property, owning houses, building and doing stuff. So the US government public charge rates, since they give a specific number, they say 48% of Liberians are on welfare. We're waiting for the data. Unless some of us can see that data, we cannot believe that that is a fact. There are other underlying issues, and people coming to talk about the Security Council statement. I don't think it is the Security Council statement, because if it comes to a point where it is also the Security Council statement, I will say this to you. I support Liberia's position that was delivered by Louis Brown. And the reason for that, me hear all the nonsense CDC people that can be saying funny thing. Liberia does not always have to vote with America. Liberia gave a position statement that focused on the sovereignty of another nation, which basically been happening for a long time ago. And I will show you guys a video where the United States current the Department of State Secretary, what's his name, Marco Rubio, he said he doesn't care about the UN. You have a United States Secretary, the Department of State Secretary saying he doesn't care about the United Nations, and the United Nations is the most serious thing that other countries believe in. And you have this man saying he cares less about the UN. The UN does not even know what it's doing. And you think it's just basically Liberia? At this point, I think the way America is conducting a foreign policy, they really don't even care about the United Nations. And it's not coming from me. We can find a video eventually, we can say it. But I have my guest on here. Um, Let me have him introduce himself to join this conversation as we prepare to wrap up here quickly on this last segment where we're discussing the U.S. immigration policy, the uh, the immediate and eventually long-term impact on Liberia. Um, we'll have Mr. Soko, introduce yourself real quick. You gotta unmute yourself. It looks like you muted, so unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Hey, good afternoon, folks. My name is Soko Salif. I'm joining the podcast with my brother, Daniel Chais. The topic is important, and the Liberian people need to hear this, and also our Liberians within the diaspora, they need to get this message very, very clearly. And that being said, We are here to push the agenda so our people can understand the rationale behind all the propaganda that we're hearing out in our community. I will rest for now. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, Philip, are you good enough now on your audio to introduce yourself? Seems like you still can't even hear us, Philip. There is a private chat. I'll post in a private chat that you will see this. We cannot hear you. It's a private chat. I think your audio is not working, Philip. So one of the things I wanted to highlight first is okay, and Soko, you can take this on from here too as well, since you're part of the conversation. What certain people don't understand is that Liberians in the United States, basically, who were covered by the DED, stay have the opportunity to be protected in the US up until June 30th this year, under the deferred enforcement arrangement. And the reason for that is because we also have another immigration benefit that were enacted by Congress on December 19, on December 20th, 2019, that ensure that Liberians can convert just their status through the Liberia Immigration, the Liberia Refugee Immigration and Fairness Act. So we have these things in place, but the conversation here on the public risk charge is the big issue. And as you saw, my position statement was, if we have a number flying around, where is that number coming from? Because I do not believe it. I do not believe it. The only thing I know for sure is Liberians work here a lot, send money home, contribute immensely to the Liberian economy, to the point where people been saying that if all Liberians in America decide to stop sending money home, the Liberian economy will collapse. I don't think it will collapse. I think families will suffer because the government will still continue, but it will be a huge financial shock on our economy if Liberians in the US collectively decided that they won't send money home no more. But putting Liberians against Liberians on this immigration thing, for me, is not the case. The case for me is, I'm questioning logic for the decision. Because for America to take this kind of decision against her oldest ally is a big issue. It's a big issue. I don't know what the Liberian government is doing right now in terms of meeting with State Department and negotiating behind the scene, because people just looking at it from the public landscape. But I'm looking at this from a perspective of some kind of child was coming to see their dad this year. Some woman was going to be reunited with her husband. Families, grandmothers, grandfathers, these people are being reunited under legal system, under the American laws. To do this because you want to try to punish somebody or try to punish that person, and people making politics out of it, is a critical issue for me. And I like to follow up on the American people justification. They say the justification is a public charge rigs. What public charge rigs? Where are the data? Where are the data to show that you have almost 50% of Liberian living in America on welfare? So let me let you come in a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. The thing is, when I saw the information about pausing uh immigrant visa, and then I see the second paragraph that says non-immigrant visa, they can still process non-immigrant visa, but if, with the immigrant visa it's paused, and I'm kind of like, what is going on here? Because first of all, what I expect from that line is pausing non-immigrant visa, because we all know non-immigrant visa is tourism, visitation, all those stuff. And this is where America faces a lot of problems. Now, not only Liberia, but every other countries. America faces a problem with that whole visitation visa. The audience can hear me loud and clear, because the
Yeah.
thing is, visitation When you come on a visit to the United States, the purpose of your visit, once it's over, you're supposed to return. That's the criteria of that visa. You still welcome back in the United States whenever you want to come back once you apply and get qualified or get another visa stamp into your passport.
Yeah.
Going back to that post that I saw from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I think I repost that stuff, Charles. I put that stuff on my Facebook, and I was kind of like devastated about it because some of us been here for so many years. We work hard, we pay taxes, we've been low key, we have no excessive records at all. For us to see those kind of information popping up, it's very, very concerning, especially within our community, like you mentioned. Our community is very, very concerning. We are hardworking people. And with that data that I'm hearing about, like 50% of Liberian food stamp, that data does not exist. You have Liberian out here grinding at work 2, 3 jobs, if possible 4 jobs, to take care of their family. To take care of, can you imagine we take care of family here in abroad, and you cannot survive that on a one income? Even if you're making 100,000, 150,000, you still cannot survive on that one income, taking care of family in the United States and in Africa as a whole.
Especially when you integrate yourself into the society and own all the asset that you need to own here. You owning houses, you owning condos, you owning this property and all that stuff. So, and people don't understand this, because for me, the reason why I wanted to be clear by it, I said put the sentiments away. Put the sentiments away.
Yes,
And Liberia may be insignificant to the current US president, but the relationship between the two countries, the relationship is historic.
yes,
It's very historic. When you approach foreign policy issue, you got to approach it with understanding that there will be implications. And for me, when people say when I'm talking, they say, "Why are you talking?" Let me say this very clearly.
we gotta say it, my brother. We gotta
Liberia,
say it.
Liberia don't have guns to fight America, but we have to ask ourselves, why have we had the oldest relationship? The relationship is strategic because they need us in other ways. Number one, yeah, resources. Number two, a shared space to offer an environment for global strengthening of the United States military and posture around the world. Liberia is a place for that.
Yes,
Okay, we have had this relationship. So when you're taking certain decisions, the way Liberians have considered themselves, Liberians have naturally considered themselves to be part of my life is that I have to go to America. And the reason for this is simply because these two countries, their whole relationship has resulted into something where technically, like the world people can say, a habitat for Liberians is the United States,
of course.
because they call Liberia America's stepchild. But I'm saying this with the understanding that the implication for this is merely down to families that are being affected. And people don't know, when you put a pause on this thing and they say, oh, the State Department will reassess, review, and come up again with all this stuff. It is at this point that I believe the Liberian government, through the foreign ministry, should be sending a very, very strong letter to State Department and questioning this,
Yes,
rather
of
than
course.
playing around and asking like, oh, and I see the CDC boys come up like, oh, Liberia should have voted the way. No, the country needs her independence. This is not about who has the greatest military or who has the greatest military dominance in the war. We gone back to a time where, because you and myself have a relationship, does not mean you and myself will always vote the same way at the UN.
No, you have a different view. I have a different view.
But we saw a situation, and this is where I wanted to take people's mind back a little bit to see those of us who know history. When Barack Obama was in office, when they were about to execute Colonel Gaddafi,
That was it. That was his first term. Yeah, that was
yeah,
probably
his
my
first
first
term.
term. Yeah.
Um, at the last AU meeting, the about 52 countries refused to speak when Hillary Clinton said nobody should talk to Colonel Gaddafi. And I still remember Madam Salif. came up and she terminated diplomatic ties with Libya under the US arrangement because she was under serious constraint because America had won. But can you imagine at that time, America only needed, I think, Liberia and Nigeria to break diplomatic ties with Libya for them to execute their clandestine move. People need to go back to history to start understanding these things. If you follow Rukahana Ogunda, the guy who delivered Africa's position, which today many people have not even read, they don't even know anything about it. African countries predominantly came together and gave a position to the United Nations Security Council that Liberia did not support. Come by themselves, you have pulled out of diplomatic ties with Libya under the US constraint. Then the statement was delivered at the Security Council questioning everything that was happening in Libya, led by the United States government and the French government. Um, if we take the war back, and yesterday I ended on my podcast with a specific statement. I said, brutality only begins where the intellect succumbs. People discuss issues. People don't always agree with each other. I'm saying I am a politician. Do you think I expect everybody to agree with me or everybody to support me? But the analogy I drew yesterday, I said, if we live in a neighborhood, should the most respected man be the man that is kind, respect people, value the community values? Or should the most respected man be the man that has all the ARs and guns in his house? That he can come outside and kill anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Who should be the most respected person between these two individuals I just shared? Is it a man that supports the community, share the community values, kind, peaceful, and respect people, or is it a man who has all the guns? This is the trick I'm getting people to understand. I'm breaking this foreign policy conversation down. America did not become a superpower by dominating the war military. Even though America has the largest support to the largest military budget than the five other countries combined, but America has not always used that posture. They've done a lot of clandestine operation. We've seen it, but America has gone around the world and argue for economic integration, uh, freedom, human rights. These are the things that they've pushed. Tell me if I'm lying though.
No, you're right. You're right.
Economic development, human rights, peace, security, and freedom. These are the values they've pushed around the world that people all around the world have gravitated to America. That even people in Iraq and Afghanistan, when it comes to
Yep.
America, they say, I'm going to America because it's the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Yep.
I
Of
don't
course.
know America to be a country that will project extreme military dominance to be able to have people to succumb to our ideas.
No. No.
I don't know the country to be that, unless maybe I'm wrong. But America, we knew from the Franklin Delano Roosevelt to the John F. Kennedy to the Bill Clintons, it is not the America that does that. Barack Obama cannot convince the world right now on why Gaddafi was killed. We all know this. Barack still cannot convince the world on why Gaddafi was killed. Okay? They come up with all the things they want to say. Oh, Gaddafi was doing this, he was doing that, he was doing that. But I tell people, I said, the Libyan law was violated. Africa is not stupid for about 48 out of 54 countries to get together
Countries.
and deliver a position statement and say, leave Libya, do not kill Gaddafi.
They could have.
Yeah, they could have said in Libya, what we need is a political arrangement that maintains peace. Let's see if Colonel Gaddafi goes to election here and we can have international watch to monitor. I just said
Yeah.
this thing. If you just decide to kill people, that's why I told somebody, I said, with the situation in Uganda right now, America is turning her back because maybe they're having fun, basically what should interest them, because Museveni on the back end is giving foreigners what they want, and on the front end, he's acting like a revolutionary. But if Museveni took a U-turn and say, oh, I want to be a real pan-African leader and I want to just focus on my people, they're coming for him.
Yep.
People don't understand these things. So if a man decides that, oh, I'm going to protect my country, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, we come on the back end. But I'm been asking people question. When you're approaching a foreign policy conversation, the values America has projected over the years that made her who she is: peace, human rights, security, education, freedom.
Yep.
These are the values. These are the values that China has not been able to project.
Even
Russia
Russia.
has
Russia.
not been
Yep.
able to project.
Yep.
Are we overlooking the greatness of the United States on these things they say to the world? And now we are in the times where foreign policy is taking a redirection, where America, and listen to American presidency, we use excessive and overwhelming force.
False. Yeah. We got that right, comrade.
And for me, this is what I'm saying, because you know what? The resistance is always rising. So go you and myself, we around for another 30 years. We gone, we out of this earth, people will be here. I like to share with people. I say, as a man, the only thing you can guarantee for yourself is, are you independent enough to speak freely? Speak without being worried about, oh, somebody will kill me, I will get killed, this will happen, and stuff like that. I share this with people because I'm saying, if you follow war politics, there have been several meetings to denuclearize heavily nuclearized zones in the world. There are several conferences on this issue. People who don't know geopolitics and don't understand global politics and know this. The statement I made yesterday, I said, in as much as America is sophisticated, America is not stupid to know that if they think they can use nuclear weapon, China can use nuclear weapon, Iran can use nuclear weapon, Russia can use nuclear weapon, North Korea can use nuclear weapon.
Yep. But the thing is, if we rely on forces, on military acts, it's like we're going back to World War I, World War II kind of a mindset. You get what
That's
I'm
why we
saying?
fought. That's why we fought World War One, World War Two.
Yes, yes. So at the end of the day, the foreign policy, again, like you said, comrade, let dive back into to pausing of that visa situation. Like you said, the government, foreign affairs ministry, including the government, they are all responsible for this to go that far for Liberia. You guys come to this country on a visit. A lot of government officials. 90% of government officials come here for visit every term that they sit in office. And they come here, they stays with their family member, relatives, or friends, or whosoever. You come to America for visit, you stay with your same Liberian or families. And you see they leave you home, they go to work. They leave their vehicles with you to go and have your good time to enjoy your vacation. They take time off work to spend time with you to take you places. You see how hard they work here. So why you guys sit there and allow this thing just cross your face without any immediate action taken against person of that visa?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
As
yeah.
I reshare
Because
that
because
stuff,
I getting your point that you're going to. There were underworkings to show that this was coming.
right? They knew.
Yeah,
They knew. They knew. So the government is held liable for this kind of a thing we're seeing, because I reposted that thing because, like I said, it's devastating. We have our parents that ban our parents. I'll put myself out there as an example of Charles. My mother-in-law, my mother, both of them paperwork been sitting to National Visa Center for 3 years. Just this gone November, make it 3 years that they cannot even get an interview date being scheduled at the U.S. Embassy in Liberia. And every time I reach out to them, oh, we have not come up with a date yet. We'll let you know when we have a date set for the interview. So it's gonna take you another year or two to get a date, because 2026 will be 2 years. It have been sitting there, and now we're
and and
forcing.
and
With
and And the only reason why these things should be delayed is if you don't provide all the documentations to.
All the
But I know you
documentation.
provided. That's how it used to be. Once you provide all the requested documents, your process go through 3 6 months,
See,
goes through, things is done. And you know, but this is what I'm saying. I say the ordinary people are the ones that are affected the most because right now, since our government and the other political parties they playing politics with this, you got to understand this from this perspective because somebody was telling me say the information minister in Liberia gave a speech and he said the the United States government pronouncement that takes effect on January 21st did not hit government officials. It only hit the ordinary people. Somebody
wow.
said that what he said in a press conference. He said government officials will not be impacted. Who told him to include that kind of line in his
Wow.
statement?
Wow. That's been selfish.
We discussing immigration. Immigration is one of the biggest policy of any country
In the war.
in the world. Then you come up to can talk about yeah, the government was not hit. So who is the government now? Is it the officials or is it of, for, and by the people? Soko man. We got 5 more minutes here. I know we got these political updates that come on regularly, but I'm just sharing this with people that, and I'll let you do some wrap up here before we conclude on this broadcast. But the Liberian government through the foreign ministry needs a strong approach to this issue. Question the U.S. government. Don't be afraid. Question them. Say, okay, we accept your accusation. Give us the justification. Like you also said, there were underlining communications that the Liberian government had to also be honest about and share with
Yeah.
the Liberian people. Say, okay, American people were giving all these indicators, they were telling us this was coming slowly, it was coming slowly. What did you guys do about it? Do you care about your people? Do you care about your people? Oh, leave Liberians in America. They can take care of themselves. As a matter of fact, like you regularly said, because they know we take care of ourselves here and we take care of our people home. So leave them. They okay, they understand what they're doing. But if this is becoming a reason that because of Liberians here, the behavior is resulting to Liberians cannot come here no more, this is sad. The Liberian government needs to step up. And I think what their approach should be now is questioning the US government in the direction of doing this with your oldest ally when there are issues that can just be addressed on the back end. I haven't seen it. Because the other thing we should also talk about, what are some of the accomplishments of Liberians here in the United States? The last time I checked, unlike other nationals, Liberians are the one basically who stay out of jails here. We just work. Like you said,
We just
contribute,
work. That's it.
contribute to the US economy. You know,
Huge. Very huge
that's what we do.
contribution.
That's what we do. So it should be questioned, and we should see some of the communications that initially took place between the foreign ministries and the foreign ministry and then the U.S. State Department, so that they can tell us that we told your government this was going to happen, and they didn't act in this way, they didn't act in that way. But the public charge risks, uh, I have some serious doubt with that data.
It's
I have some
disturbing.
serious doubt with
Yeah.
that data. And I'm hoping that that data can be revealed for us to see it so we can really understand that if this is what's happening, maybe was it due to COVID? Did people get laid off and people just went on unemployment?
But Charles, who
So
was working during
something has to
COVID?
happen.
Who was working during COVID in America? You and I would be in here. Who was working during COVID in America? All the nursing homes, all the nursing facilities and institution. Who were working tirelessly?
Yeah.
Liberians.
Yeah.
Liberians were working. They wasn't even returning home because there's a policy that was in place in Minnesota that if you work in a COVID or section within a nursing home or within a group home, and any other individual has COVID, when you go to work, you stay to work for the 3 4 days before you return home. And they were paying people a lot of overtime because of that. They even added an incentive for that. So who were working tirelessly during COVID time? And again, this whole relationship between Liberia and America with the whole immigration stuff, I feel like the Liberian government they just too laid back about it. And I will dig deeper from that statement the minister made. I will dig deeper to see if I can find that statement, that post or that interview that he did. I'll be on the look. I'll be on the look for that because that being very selfish, that being very self-centered. Because if you have your brothers and sisters in America and they're trying to send for their children in Liberia, and you accepting the fact that pausing visa processing is not beneficial to them, but allowing non-immigrant visa to continue to flow through for you guys to come for visit, just come and just come for pleasure.
But do you know the trick in the process here right now? The trick in the process here right now. The United States Congress has certain amount of F1 visa they approve that schools can give out, and then they also have certain amount of tourist visa that they approve. So that is highly regulated. It's still like the lottery. Now with the immigrant visa, that is guaranteed because somebody
It's
here
yep,
is already bringing the person. With
yep.
the visiting visa and the student visa, they can decide who they want to give that to.
We the one. Yep,
They can decide and say this year only 10 students will leave Liberia on F1 visa.
on
They
F1.
can
Yep.
decide this year and say only 100 people will leave Liberia as tourists to come to the United States. But through the immigration laws, people who send for the families will legitimately come to the US
Hundred
without
percent.
you going against that. So
Yep.
so people don't know the trick in it here and are hearing all the people, somebody say government said the government was not affected and all that stuff. You know what? We'll circle back because I know I have to go to other meetings
It's
here. I
in
don't
it's
have the
in
time.
it's in our favor, so they are not
Yeah,
affected in our favor.
yeah, yeah.
So they can
So they're
bring
not
that
affected. Yeah,
girlfriend. They can bring that girlfriend. They can come in and out and stuff like that. It's
yeah,
it's it's just ridiculous, my brother. But the government really need to step up. And there's
yeah,
a mandate. There is a mandate for them to make the Liberian people to understand this is what we're going to work through to solve this problem. Because come on, do you know how many families have been affected already?
yeah. No, people overlooking it now because people overlooking it because they don't even know, like what you just explained. Your mother-in-law, your mom waiting for 3 years. They don't understand what this means with family union, family reunion, all that stuff, and the implication is having psychologically now on even children.
Yes, yes, yep.
No, that's why. And somebody was telling me and they said, this is the thing that they used to be boasting about. There's the time now for Sarah Besler Yanti to now be behind the scene, making sure that Boaka can call Trump to have a conversation about this. They need to make the phone call now to have a
Yep.
conversation about this. But this is seriously affecting your people.
Very
You know that
much.
your immigration between United States and Liberia is a big issue for Liberians. It's
And
a
do you
big issue for
know how much?
Liberians.
And do you know how much money we have put into immigration? Do you know how every the data is there? Do you know how many Liberians that are here that sent for their family to come and reunite with them? Do you know how much money they spent from the
Yeah.
application to the DNA to the visa to every step? You got to spend $1. Every
Yes.
process you got to spend $1, and you just
Yeah.
sit there and you just
And
sit
these
there and nip
people
it, and you just sit there and nip it in the butt just like that without even taking any
yeah,
action.
and these people pay the money for all the
Everything.
process, they pay for it. They go to work, they pay the money for all the process. Some people are telling me, say, my man, next time you're doing this, please let her come on, please let her come on. We'll have this conversation again next week.
Yes,
We
for
beg you,
sure.
there's a big issue.
Yeah.
We'll have the conversation next week. But for me, like I said, the Liberian government now needs to step up and question the United States government on the legitimacy of the claim and working a way out to address this issue. You can't hold Liberia down like this and call her your oldest ally. Liberia may not have all the things required now from the military dominance standpoint to show you, but here's a country that portrays your image. Over there, they
Oh,
talk about the love of liberty brought us here. American people talk about freedom, the pursuit of freedom, life, liberty, and happiness. Is all the values that these countries share. These are not times to break that. But until we see you guys again, I will let Soko wrap up. Soko wrap up here so we can conclude.
Okay. Yeah. So again, my brothers and sisters out there in the diaspora, there's a very, very huge issue that we need to address. We appreciate you guys joining us next time whenever the podcast will be posted again, because we need to have this kind of a discussion so our brothers and sisters out there can hear it, so we can send a strong message to the Liberian government to be able to look into some of these things that are just letting it slide right through their nose, and they're not even paying attention to it. And these are very, very issues. These are critical issue for us Liberian within the diaspora, especially in the United States. Again, like my brother said, we have a very, very strong long-term relationship with America. So why must we, be part of some kind of a scoop thing that will affect us on the line of immigration system? Because Liberians in America, again, like Charles mentioned, and the data is there, and I'm aware of it as well. How many Liberians you see on the crime watch list in America? What's the percentage? What's the percentage of Liberia contributing to America economy? You work two jobs, they take taxes from two jobs. You work three jobs, they take taxes from three jobs. It's not like they're just going to take taxes
Yeah,
for
yeah,
one
yeah,
job.
yeah. And
No.
you also have to add the technicalities. I know it's not in every state, but for predominantly you do
Yes,
income tax and federal taxes. So
federal
you do
tax,
state income tax, and then you pay federal taxes.
federal taxes. So we
And,
contributing
and, and
very
for me,
decently
and
to
for
the
me, and for
economy.
me, and for me, I can share this with people. People don't know this sometimes, and the data is there. When I was working when I was doing my federal contract, I used to look at my paycheck. I had 1,200 coming out of my paycheck just in taxes.
Yes.
That's what I
Yep.
had coming out of my paycheck. Imagine, imagine if they just took at least 800 and give me the 400 back. That's how we contribute to the US economy. People don't know it sometimes. I get all my document. I used to, when I was doing my federal contract, I used to look, I was like, bro, this is a part-time job for somebody. Just what the
Yep.
American government taking from me. 12, 1300 every
Every
month.
2 weeks. Every month, every 2 weeks, people they're taking that money out consistently, on time. Nobody gonna question you about it.
That's what I'm saying. The Liberians who trying to bring out the conversation between, oh, Liberians in Liberia should be disappointed in Liberians in Liberia should be disappointed in Liberians in America. You'll stop that conversation because you don't even go there without a conversation. And the Liberians in America too, don't buy into that kind of conversation. Just discuss the facts. The people can buy anything they see on the internet, but the reality is that it's different. All we do here is remittances. Send money
Yes.
home, send money home, send money home. End of story. Where will we get the money from if we're
They
not
don't
working?
they don't care. They don't even care where we get the money
But
from.
where will we get it from if
Where
we're
we
not
get it
working?
from. Exactly. We're not on government welfare. Just imagine,
Yeah.
even Liberian get one job. One job. You can't even get benefits. One job. Some we living testimony. We brought our family here, and we try to apply for benefits. We can't even get it. The next thing, look at your income, be like, oh, you make so much money.
Yeah, yep. You
You
make
can't
you
even
make
get
too
a
much money, you
single
can't get
benefit.
that. You can't get that. Soon you come, you start working, you start making certain amount of money. They say you're above the poverty
Yeah,
belt.
above the
So
poverty. Yep, the poverty
you
guidelines.
cannot get, what they should predominantly give the citizens that actually don't want to work. The last time I checked, it was actually their people that don't want to work,
They don't want to
and not
work.
people who come here that gonna be talking this. But so good, man. Next weekend I think we'll continue this conversation next weekend until we see where Liberian government moves with their response to this. Not just sit down and put your hands between your legs and say, "Oh, let America do whatever they want to do." Write letters, question this process,
Yeah,
question it.
Paul.
Call some of your Liberians in America here, gather data, ask them questions. Say, can you guys help us to build a case? People, they got Liberian immigration lawyers here that are working on things. Call them. You put together a database, you question this, let the policy change within 30 to 60 days.
Yeah, we have our ambassador right here in Washington. Our
Yeah,
ambassador right in Washington.
let the policy
Y'all need to
change.
do something about it. You need to do
Let the
something
policy
about it.
change, man. You can't just be passing around and be boasting that we America oldest airline. Use the oldest thing now to leverage this particular process now to help your people. Because families are crying in Liberia right now.
Yeah.
You not see it on TV, but people crying, people frustrated. Oh,
But
I was supposed to go. I
I
was supposed
told
to go America next week. I was supposed to go America next month. I'm supposed to go America this year. I can't go no more.
can't go no more. I mean, I mean, when I saw that stuff, when I reposted, my mom called me. She didn't call me this morning, wish me happy birthday. She said, "What's the update now?" I said, "Oh man, there is no update.
There you go.
There's no update." She frustrated. You know,
Yeah,
it's hardening. She frustrated because why? She expecting some kind of result this year. Every year, people are expecting result for immigration. Every year, people are expecting result for immigration. And it remind me again when Trump first took over office, his first term, he signed a proclamation again for the same immigration law again. They had to stop all visas, all immigration process, everything was put on hold. So why you guys continue to accept this every single time?
yeah. Man, we'll meet here again next weekend. A lot of the guys that didn't join us today, the audio issue and all this stuff, they will join us. Okay, but until then, please, we encourage our government to do something about this and not just sit down and put her hand between her legs.
Yeah.
We'll see